Hello and welcome to Unprofessional Engineering. My name is James.
And you got Luke.
Luke, building off of our previous episode all about concussions, we're joined by two special guests today, Will Hall and Jerry Fuller, co-founders of Trifecta Sports Solutions. Guys, thanks for joining the podcast today.
Hi, thanks for letting us be a part of this.
Yeah, hello.
So James, I think I said this to you maybe off camera, but Jerry and Will, I think, are potentially old enough to be one of my children and are co-founders of a company. And I don't know about you, but it makes me feel bad whenever I've never co-founded anything.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot with some of the great inventors that we've talked about on some of our episodes.
Let's not call these guys great inventors yet. Is that what we're doing?
No, I mean, I wasn't going there.
Not yet. Okay.
I mean, I would probably say they're greater inventors than we are.
Oh, for sure.
But gosh, they always seem to start so young and make me feel so unaccomplished.
Yeah.
So, Will, Jerry, congratulations on the accomplishments that you've achieved already, which we're about to get into. I would consider you great inventors already, but, Luke's going to reserve his judgment.
It's okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Great. So to start things off, could you give us a little bit of a background about yourselves?
Will, you want to go first?
You know what? I will. So, as you said, my name was William Hall. Me and Jerry, we're in Northwest Indiana. So, Jerry is going to be going into his senior year, and I'm actually going to be a freshman at Michigan State University.
Go Mud Ducks.
Come on, Luke, you know that one, don't you?
It's the Spartans.
Oh, at the Spartans.
Yeah, the Spartans. There you go. But me and Jerry, I think, how long have we been friends, bud? What, 2 years?
2 or 3 years. We met. I met you sophomore year for our kart club here at the high school, and that's where it kind of started because you had started giving me rides everywhere.
What's
kart club?
Yeah.
So the kart club, it is what we do in it. We make a electric go-kart, and in doing so, we race it and everything. It's kind of like the Indy 500.
In fact, we actually go and we race it at Lucas Oil Motor Speedway down in Indy track during the Indy time trials.
This isn't fair. So literally,
I tell you what, these Gen Zers or millennials or whatever they're called nowadays, I don't know what they are. You know what I had whenever I was in high school in tech class? They gave me a stick.
That's a stick.
That's what I had.
Honestly, the most technical thing that I did in high school was 1 semester of AutoCAD for drafting. That was technology. That's crazy. And you guys are building electric carts and
building
racing
Teslas.
them.
They're building Teslas, essentially.
Yeah, Teslas on a lower scale.
That's amazing. Okay, sorry to interrupt. Continue on.
Yeah, so we really met through there, and we've been friends for a good amount of time.
Yeah.
And just in doing so, I've been playing football for 11 years, rec and high school.
Okay.
Yeah. Just starting out with this entire thing, I got a concussion, and we're going to find out a little bit more about that later, but that kind of started everything and got me thinking about how to fix some stuff.
Yeah.
So Will, you mentioned football. What position?
So I am definitely not the skinniest guy.
You look like a wide receiver. You got the build of a wide receiver.
Oh yeah. 5'3 3/4.
Nice.
Just mossing. No. So I've always played offensive line, defensive line, and then starting in high school, I really took up lawn snapping.
Oh, which is a very special skill.
Yeah. So I launched the ball about 15 yards in between my legs, and that was a little scary at times.
That's pretty cool. So the other thing too, and I'm sure you guys will have maybe similar stories because you both joined this Tesla building club. So when did you get interested in engineering? I always tell James my story. When I was a kid, I would just take alarm clocks apart. And I was always tinkering with stuff that my parents were throwing out, old VCRs, if you guys know what those are. But what kind of got you into engineering? And then Jerry, you get the opportunity to think about that before we get to you. So
okay,
yeah. So really, what got me into engineering was just it's almost exactly like what you were saying, Luke. When I was younger, taking apart things and trying to see if I can put them back. Lots of pens were dismantled. I will have to say. But really, the school system pushes try to figure out what you're going to start doing towards a little bit of middle school. And then high school, what we do is you can go into career pathways. So I really started going into the engineering pathway, and that's taken me to, doing what me and Jerry have accomplished, and ultimately got me to decide, I think I'm going to go for some mechanical engineering in college.
Nice.
That's amazing. I don't want to belittle the great education I got at the St. Mary's area school district, where both of my parents taught, but, I don't think I got a whole lot of guidance on anything career path, and I certainly wasn't told to go into engineering by anyone but my dad. So thanks for that, Dad. But, really appreciate it that your school is so ahead of the game.
Yeah. So like here, like we have so many different like opportunities we can take. Like there's medical programs. We can go, we can take courses, we can take dual credit courses, go be a lineman for our local electric company if we wanted. We just we're full of opportunities here, and it's been great. It's gotten
It's so
really
awesome.
Cool.
What are you allowed to give like a shout out to the school? What's your school's name?
Yeah, I think we can. So we go to, he goes to.
Yeah, I go to Hobart High School, but really the whole district needs a shout out. The School City of Hobart here in Northwest Indiana, they've really given us a lot of opportunities. They've let us like use the building and all that for like whatever projects we're working on.
Yep.
They've been really good to us, and they've really provided us with a lot of help and support.
Insanely supportive, I would have to say.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So,
all right.
So Jerry, what's your story and background before we circle back to Will?
So my background in this is a lot different than Will's. Up until about 2 years ago, I didn't know a thing about football.
Okay.
I came into high school and I started doing some the analytical filming work for the football team. So like we use drones and different things so the players can go back in between games and see what they need to change and all that.
Oh yeah.
And that's where I started with football. But really, this background for me is really, I've always enjoyed like taking things apart and tinkering with them. So like I've always had like something for engineering. Like I don't recall anyone ever like teaching me to use a computer. I just had to figure it out on my own. And so a lot of the stuff is like I just like taking things apart and building it. I'm big into 3D printers and design and all that fun stuff.
Okay.
This is interesting. Luke, to me, when I'm hearing Jerry talk about using the drones for the analytics on the football field, it sounds like he's probably going to land with the New England Patriots. Doesn't it sound that way to you?
For sure going to be, because I think they did a lot of drone work.
I think so as well.
I'm fairly certain.
Very skilled over there.
Yes. Okay, Jerry, continue on. Sorry about that.
So like was said, we met about 2 years ago, and like he was going into his senior year last year, which we took a class called Engineering Design Development, and that's where really you have to find a problem and you have to come up with a solution to it. So Will came to me, I think it was May of last year. He's like, I have this class next year and I know you're smart. I know you can design. I know you know what you're doing with things. Can you help me with this project? So that's really what started off with. And from there, we started planning. We came up with initial concepts and all that back of last summer. And we've really come far since then with pretty much everything.
So Jerry, do we have to assume that you're going to be going for engineering as well for you in another year or no?
I want to go into electrical engineering. I'm hoping.
One of those smart engineers.
Yeah. I don't know where yet, but my goal is electrical engineering.
Okay. Very good.
Very cool. So it sounds like, Will, you're the idea guy. And Jerry, I don't want to say that you're the brains behind everything because that sounds a little mean towards Will, but it kind of sounds like he's
totally
Will said,
no,
okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
We've talked about it before. I came to him with the idea. I love engineering and I know some concepts, but really his thing is he's licensed in almost every Autodesk program.
Wow.
And he knows how to design it better than I do. And it really takes, a wider angle to notice, hey, he's better than me in this and I need his help.
Yeah, well, that's a very wise and mature thing to understand. It took Luke a very long time to understand that I'm better than him at basically everything. And just to step aside and let me run everything.
Yeah, Will kind of just accepted that right off.
Okay, that's good.
So I guess this story ultimately kind of circles back around you, Will, because you mentioned it before. So we're talking about concussions, and I'm guessing you had one, and then this is where kind of this concept concept came from. So could you talk about maybe when that happened and then how that idea for this design you have, and if you want to go in a little more detail on the design as you're telling us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So really what struck my fancy was, like Jared said, I was in that senior engineering course, and it was figure out a problem and make an innovation to a current product or make an invention to fix that. So I looked at the football helmet and seen, you know what, the padding in here can be fixed. It can be better. So that's really where I needed Jerry's help in order to design the shock absorption system and all that. But really, it all truly started with that concussion.
And that was when? Was that recent, or was this like high school, middle school?
It was probably 7th or 8th grade. I can't really remember because, my brain was scrambled.
Because of the concussion, right?
But it really has affected me very bad, I guess. So I can't focus sometimes in school. I got severe test anxiety. It'll be a little 5-question quiz, and I'll have migraines and a bloody nose just because I'm overthinking it.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so it's a little bad. And then sleeping at night's a little difficult as well with some muscle spasms and waking up, 5 to 6 times a night.
My goodness.
It's not exactly the most fun.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think of a concussion as like a one time, like you have it and then like, don't go to sleep for, the day, and put ice on the back of your neck, and, don't watch too much TV. It's like literally that's what I think of when I think of concussions. But the reality is, concussions can have, really long-term side effects, quality of life, all kinds of other things can happen. And, being able to prevent these and the severity of them, I think is a pretty important thing. And that's what you decided to tackle with this helmet design.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
So before we get into the helmet design, as well as the, I guess, kind of like contest that you went through to work through this process, I think it's time that we take a break for a word from our sponsor.
And we actually have one, Trifecta Sports Solutions.
Heck yeah, Trifecta Sports Solutions. Let's hear what you got.
So hold on, before they tell us what they got, when these guys make the big bucks, James, they got to come back and actually pay us a sponsorship.
Well, I didn't want to mention it.
Freebie sponsorships right now.
We actually had them sign a paper that we are now part owners of the company.
Ooh,
so yeah, it's working out for us. I'm really pushing for these two.
So with us being the sponsor, you can find us at trifectasportsolutions.com. And through there, you can also get a hold of us at the same handle, trifectasportsolutions@gmail.com.
And pretty much what you're going to find on your website is you're going to find, to make it easier, contact us page, but you also find some, we like to track our progress and make it available to people who want to know. So we have a page that's like everything that we've done and like all the different days we've done work on. We pretty much keep track of it all because it's always good to keep a record of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much, just check us out online and follow us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. All that you can be found on the website.
Are you on the Facebooks too?
Oh, yes. We are.
The Facebooks, the Twitters, the Instagrams. All right. So Trifecta Sports Solutions. If you have any questions about them and you're a little scared to reach out to them because they're going to be big, successful, wealthy businessmen here soon, you can feel free to reach out to us directly at unprofessionalengineering@gmail.com. You can subscribe. You can, what else? Like us. You can leave us a review. All of those good things. Just like some of these great listeners did. I actually have a few shout outs because I've stopped being lazy and I started actually answering some of our emails. So a few quick shout outs. Longtime listener Steve F. wrote back in to weigh in on a few of our topics, especially the one about water towers, because, well, Luke screwed something up on that, but we won't bring that up. Oh. And then we also have a shout out for Willa and her love of biomedical engineering, suggesting that we do a topic right there. Good stuff. As well as Paul F., who is looking to do a dubstep remix of our intro. I don't know what dubstep remix means, but, apparently he's going to do that. And also a shout out for his dad, Michael, who is also a big listener of our show. So thanks a lot for all of the write-ins, and let's get back to our guests of Trifecta Sports Solutions.
So guys, let's talk about the this Innovate Within. Apparently there was a contest, right, that you guys got involved with. Now, did the contest happen first and you brought the idea, or this idea of this helmet design was kind of bubbling up and then you saw the contest? And then tell us about the contest and how it went.
So really, within that senior engineering course, you are automatically supposed to go into the Innovate Within contest. Now, Innovate Within right now is specifically Indiana students only, Indiana high school students. I think they're planning on branching out to actually the entire United States.
So. But at the moment, Innovate Within, it's the biggest high school level pitch competition. So it's Shark Tank, but for high schoolers. Instead of money, we get like help and support from different people. It helps get our name out there. But we also do get some money to help fund our project and our idea. But it was a great program to go through. We were supposed to travel to Seattle this year with them, and they would take us through to like tour different things there, like Google. We were actually going to go to a football helmet manufacturer too.
That's so cool.
But for obvious reasons, that never happened. So they did something that was really cool. Every week they'd get us a Zoom meeting with a different person. So like one of the weeks it was was it the owner of the Dallas?
It was the CEO of the Dallas Mavericks, not the Shark Tank guy that we all.
Not the owner, yes.
We are
not our close personal friend, longtime listener, Mark Cuban, but
Pittsburgher, Mark
someone
Cuban.
else. Pittsburgher, that's right, Luke.
No, I think it was St. Marshall. She was actually the first black cheerleader ever in college sports.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, very big. She was an amazing person to talk to. Just her insight and outlook on not only the entrepreneurial side, but also the business side, just to give us ideas on how to run our potential businesses and how to really market out to other people.
So you met this person and
through Zoom.
Through Zoom and learned how to run your business accordingly?
So kind of. So like they kind of give us their story of how they kind of got to the place they are now. And so we did this with, I think it was 10 or 12 people.
Yeah.
And they're all like great people to talk to. And pretty much we learned a lot just about like, they tell us like mistakes they made and things that they would do differently. And it was a good learning experience for us. And it was a great opportunity.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. And I know you said that you were going to potentially get to travel to the West Coast and meet up with Amazon. And I believe off air you told us that you might have even had the chance to meet up with little known quarterback Russell Wilson.
Yes, little known quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks.
Wow. This is just an amazing program that you're part of. Wow. I'm blown away. Okay, so continue on. Sorry, we keep interrupting you, and you have this great story to tell.
Yeah, so, I mean, the pitch competition in total, it's an amazing competition. So if it does end up going nationwide, I would highly suggest our listeners, if you are in high school, please start thinking about some innovative products. But right now, I guess Indiana's the best. So
if you're in Indiana, actually, for this year, please don't join. I have one more year. I got to go through the competition.
There you go.
Eliminate the competition. I like it.
So some challenges that we really went through was one, productivity.
Yeah.
Because in the competition, you're just having fun and, we're best friends. So we don't want to work all the time, but you kind of have to if you want to do good in the competition.
Well, let's start with this. So the competition is 3 main levels. And let's kind of talk about the amazing thing that happened for us.
Oh, yeah. So the 3 main levels, the first thing you start out with is a video pitch that you have to submit.
And that's what gets you like into the initial competition. That's what gets you in. And that's like they sort you into regions and they think they pull like 10 teams per region that submitted.
Yeah. So then afterwards you go on to the regional level. Now the regional level can range anywhere from, like he said, 10 to our amount, which was 4. And you just go down. I think it depends. You can go to your local college or some. And really, it's just a nice building where everyone can meet and go through the pitches.
And it's like a Shark Tank. Like you go up, you give your pitch, and then you have a panel of judges you give your pitch to, and that's that. And then in the end, you figure out who moves on to the next round and who doesn't.
Yep. So they only take.
So how intense were these rounds of interviews? Was it like you guys are saying Shark Tank? I think I've watched that. I think I've watched that TV show like maybe half of an episode. I mean, are you guys showing them the helmets, or are you putting it? Is this thing designed yet, or you have prototypes, or you have them try them on? Or are they asking you tons of questions about funding and manufacturing? Like how intense is this?
So this isn't just like giving them the idea. This is a full-on like business pitch. Like we're pitching our business to them to be invested in.
Yeah.
So it's full-on. We need to give them budgets. They need to see the product. They need to know it works. We have a funny way of testing it. And it's a full-on, like you need to have everything. You need to have a business plan. You need to have like budgeting, and you need to have everything ready, and you need to be ready for any question they could possibly ask you.
Okay.
This is amazing. What a cool opportunity. And Luke, I'm thinking back to you and I both have presented at a kind of like an angel investor session down at West Virginia University, where startups go and they'll pitch their products just like you're describing to a bunch of people in this audience. There is a little bit of a panel that goes on as well, but there's other people that are looking to invest into their ideas as well. And it sounds just like this, except that these were all college kids, older, or people that have graduated, or even people that have quit their career and started investing in their startup. So you're getting this experience even in high school. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So then what's that last process? You mentioned the first two regionals. So then you guys got through the first two, and then what was that last step like?
So if you're lucky enough, you go on to the state pitch. So there's 10 regions in the entire state and then one wild card. Sadly, we did not get number one place in our region, but we got the wild card throughout the entire state.
That works.
Sounds like it was rigged to me.
Yeah.
Well, it gets more interesting.
Oh, it gets interesting. So the first place, we all in the same class, and we're actually all friends and everything. But of course, when the pitch is going on, everyone's, little secretive, little
sure
heads. So we ended up getting the wild card, which made us the best number 2 out of the entire state, which I guess in our opinion, a little bit more difficult than the region.
Sure.
But no one's going to count, So, and that's really when Corona hit. So everyone was online for the Zoom, just like we are right now. And it was very challenging, to say the least, just because you have to make sure that your internet was right. You have a time limit, and it's, a little laggy through interwebs and all that. So it's challenging.
Yeah, but all this was done through what's it called? We all had to be on practicing. It made practicing so much harder because we had to have times. The day before the pitch, I lost all the internet in my house, and
of course
panicked.
Nothing like a little extra pressure, right?
Yeah, it was a little interesting to say the least, but
yeah, and then the actual thing was broadcast to Facebook Live. So actually, you can go back if you look up Innovate Within on Facebook. You can go back and you can see all the pitches that there were. You can watch ours, and it got intense.
It was a little intense. So
that's awesome.
What came out of it was very good, though. When everything was said and done, the team that ended up beating us ended up coming in first, and we sadly came in second. But that was both from the same high school, same region. Yeah. So I guess you can say our high school was the most innovative throughout the entire state.
So what happened?
Your tech ed teacher definitely got a raise this year.
Oh, yeah. He was very, very proud. And the sad thing that happened with that was we have 2 engineering teachers, and one of them had ended up finding another opportunity. So our teacher had to take on the extra classes, and he was doing 9 classes in a 7-hour day.
Oof.
On top of helping with basketball, the 2 clubs that he's in, and helping us just with his free time on the Innovate stuff. So he was very, very busy, to say the least.
Wow. That's wonderful to hear. So before we get into more about the creation of the design and, what actually was put together there for you to, what I'm going to say is win the contest, let's take a break for this week's Luke's Rant.
So we're going to keep this rant close to home. We've been kind of talking about this pandemic and Zooms and school and stuff like that. And this is more of I'll say a panel. So I have a 13-year-old daughter that is going back to school virtually. And I know, Jerry, you're still in high school. Is your high school going back virtually, in person, or a mix of the two?
So we were given the option. What happened was there was two plans. One was everyone got a survey and whether or not they want to go back e-learning or in person. And if more than 50% of the district voted to go e-learning, then everyone who wanted to go back to school can go back to school. Everyone who wants to do e-learning can do e-learning. If more than 50% wanted to go through and go back to school, they would have done a hybrid learning system where it's like you have these 2 days and then this set of people the next 2 days.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I chose to go back.
That's it. Yeah, you know what? It's interesting because I you know me, James. I try to stay as non-political as I can, but it just seems like it's all over the board, all over the country. Like
very inconsistent.
Like literally here, just in Pittsburgh, I have a friend who's a school teacher who is going back part-time, and he's 2 miles that way. I have another friend whose kids are going back full time and he's 2 miles that way. So 5 days a week. And my daughter's going virtually. Like,
for those who can't see, Luke was pointing in opposite directions.
I was pointing in opposite directions. I just don't get the inconsistency in like what's going on there. Like I would feel like, and you know, it's, I don't know. I'm going to try not to get political here, James, but or medical. I don't want to give any medical advice. Coronavirus is a real thing. You can get sick. Wash your hands, wear a mask, you know, do all the stuff you need to do to stay safe. But it just seems crazy to me.
There could have been a little better planning and guidance is what I'm hearing.
Like my daughter's going, like she really wants to go back to school to see her friends and get that school experience. And I think most kids feel that way. And I don't know. This is more, I don't know if it's a rant, James. It's more of a frustration.
It sounds, that's pretty ranty, Luke. I think I'll give this one a pass. I have found it interesting. The view of like me, I'm like, yeah, keep everyone home and safe. But any of like my parent friends, since obviously I have no children, my parent friends are all like, send them back to school now. So it is rather interesting. Okay, so let's get back at it, guys. Let's talk a little bit about the creation of your design and then just the initial ideas as well. So Will, you mentioned that this was kind of the brainchild of your brain getting a bit injured, right? From the football injury. Yeah. So let's hear about that initial design, if you can remember.
Oh, yeah. So I can remember vividly because it very much annoyed me what we found out later on. But the original concept was to have a double shell system. So you'd have your regular football helmet on the outside. You have another absorption layer underneath, but then another inside helmet where that would actually lock onto the player's head, I'm sorry. And that would move around with the player. If the helmet got jarred or it got a very nice hit, that way the player's head would stay stable at all times. However,
it was expected to weigh like 10 pounds. And then we get rid of the head injuries, but then we create neck injuries.
Oh, yeah. So you're putting more torque on the head. So
okay,
that goes into another thing from learning from failure. That one was not the best concept.
But from there, we took the concept. We're like, okay, this idea is too big. Let's look at the helmets and see what we can change. So like, let's just design a whole new helmet from scratch, like ground up. So we ordered carbon fiber, fiberglass, because like polycarbonate strong plastic, but fiberglass and carbon fiber had more, from what we tested, were actually more shock absorbing than the polycarbonate was.
Yeah, they were more shock absorbing, allowed more flexing, but also kept their shape right back to it after the hit was done and the force was transferred.
So real quick, what was it that caused the 10 pounds of weight? Was it just the materials that you were using? Because I think normal football helmets are a lot lighter now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the football helmet, what it was is because it was like, it had like three, like your current football helmet's got like one layer of padding and that's it. This one had like 3 layers of padding in it. It was going to be like 3 or 4 inches thick and it just weighed a ton.
Yeah, that's a little no bueno for the head.
Yeah. It turns out.
So that's when we really took a little bit of a pivot and decided, you know what, let's just look at a regular football helmet, change what we can, and take that to the competition, which kind of ended up doing us very well.
Yeah. So we tried building like the whole shell and the entire helmet from scratch, but carbon fiber, when it breaks, it splinters and you slice your hands open. We learned that several times.
Yeah.
You got to be careful putting it on your head because like if you don't sand it out perfectly. So those materials were a no-no. It just
Yeah.
So then we moved to we're looking at like the shell of the helmet's not the problem. It's the inside padding that's not doing a good enough job. So we started looking at, and we noticed like the way it's designed and all that, we could improve on it. So we ended up going through and we completely redesigned the inside like padding of the helmet.
Yep.
And our initial design that we had came out worked 33% better than the existing design that was inside the helmet.
And we're still improving on that design.
And I'm not going to go too in depth on this because it's a little secretive at the moment.
Okay.
But pretty much your typical helmet right now, the padding is only about an inch thick, and imagine it being like 2 pieces of wood with like something to absorb some shock in the middle. The problem with that is it can't twist or anything. So like your head,
it doesn't allow for any movement.
It doesn't allow for any movement inside the helmet. Where with ours, the way we have it designed, it allows for the outside shell of the helmet to kind of rotate around and take more of the impact from like the rotational axis from the player. So that way the helmet moves instead of moving the head, and that's less force transferred into the player's head.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
So my guess is
not to me, but I mean, apparently it works.
Makes total sense to me, of course, James.
If you look on the website, we have a pretty good description on there.
Okay.
So, my guess is like you guys are like putting like cantaloupes or watermelons inside this thing and like seeing what happens. Like, did you guys get to do like any really cool physical testing, or was this all simulation where you were getting 33%?
So it started as a simulations, and then we had to figure out a way to test it. And while we didn't exactly have like a full helmet complete at the time for the competition, we're like, we have a block of wood, we have our padding, and we have a hammer. So we put the padding on the judge's hand.
Oh no!
We put the wood on top, and we tell them, hit yourself as hard as you want. And we compare the 2 different paddings. So like the one that already exists in the helmet and ours. Yeah. And they are thoroughly impressed every time and a little reluctant on that first hit to hit themselves.
I mean, this, assuming all goes well, that's a solid pitch right there. Like,
it is.
I didn't just bust my own hand up. Like,
you should have seen the judge at the regional competition.
Like, are
his
you
face
sure?
was like surprised.
Like, did it start off with like the lightest tap and then just increase?
Yeah, it was just like a little tap of hand, and then
my goodness.
Then like he felt confident, and he just whammed it like as hard as he could.
I told him, hit it hard. You're not going to feel it.
That's amazing. So this is really cool. I love hearing about the design process and everything else, but unfortunately, we've kind of hit our time limit for today. Luke, I think this warrants a second episode. What do you say?
Oh, for sure.
All right. So Will, Jerry, are you okay with coming back to join us for another episode to continue on with this?
Sure.
Absolutely.
All right. That is awesome. So for any of you that are listening, again, we're talking with Trifecta Sports Solutions. You can head over to their webpage. You can hit them up on all the socials. You can email them directly, or you can reach out to us at unprofessionalengineering@gmail.com. Until next time.
See ya.